You're watching Cartel TV and I'm Simone. We're getting more and more people each week with questions about electric vehicles or EVs. And I mean, it makes sense. EVs are becoming more familiar but are still so new to us. And most people have seen them on the road but have never actually been in one. So here's the trickiest part. If you're actually looking to buy an electric car, then how do you make an informed decision about which one is right for you? Where do you even start looking?
I've driven many electric vehicles, and pooling that with the experience and expertise of the rest of the Cartel TV team, we figured we'd make a video which gives a quick and simple introduction to several affordable EV options in Australia.
What I've also done is compared them for you within the categories that matter the most when you're considering buying your first EV. And before I begin, I do need to say that the word affordable does not mean the same thing with EVs. They're still far more expensive than their counterparts with internal combustion engines. But still, if you want to get ahead of the pack, I'm going to tell you about some of the best entry-level EV options that you can start with.
They are the Nissan Leaf, Hyundai Ioniq Electric, Hyundai Kona Electric, Renault Zoe, and two slightly pricier ones thrown in, the Tesla Model 3 and the BMW i3.
Their starting prices are from about $50,000 to $70,000, their ranges vary, and most come with the latest tech perks. Being entry-level models, none of them is a full-size luxury vehicle, but they do vary in size and class.
For example, the Renault Zoe is a subcompact city car, the BMW i3 is a subcompact luxury car, the Hyundai Kona is a subcompact crossover, the Nissan Leaf and Hyundai Ioniq Electric are compact city cars, and the Tesla Model 3 offers the most space, being a compact executive car.
If you have any need for space and if you intend on driving adults in the back relatively often, you should only consider
the Leaf, the Ioniq or the Model 3.
The others are just too small. They can be used to transport adults in the back, but only if you have to.
The Model 3 is by far the largest and nicest on the inside, and being the latest offering from Tesla, more modern than some of its more expensive siblings. If class is your priority, the BMW i3 may stand a chance, but if you also need some space, the Model 3 is the one to go for.
In terms of design, okay, this is a very subjective category, but I personally think the Kona, the Model 3 and the i3 are leading the pack.
The electric Kona is very similar to the regular Kona, quirky and modern with a dedicated grille pattern that looks a lot better than the blunt piece of whatever that is on the Ioniq Electric. However, the fact that it looks better than the one on the Ioniq does not mean it looks fantastic. Grille aside, the Kona actually looks pretty nice, in line with the latest trends in its class. The i3 is a wonderfully quirky car, not really to everyone's liking, but definitely something that draws attention. Its size and shape make it very easy to manoeuvre throughout the city, the rear semi-doors make entrance a bit easier, and the exterior colour mixes really make the i3 stand out. Personally, even though it gets a lot of hate, I like the way it looks. The Tesla Model 3, again, leads the way for me. It's modern, sleek, spacious, and both its general silhouette and the individual parts look great. It shows the next step in the evolution of the Tesla design language, being obviously based on the features of the Model S, but modernised.
The Renault Zoe looks like an affordable European or Japanese city car. Nothing more, nothing less.
There are some features that look nice, like the headlights, but honestly, it's not very likely it will draw any attention. What will draw attention is the Hyundai Ioniq Electric.
Some may say that attention will come for all the wrong reasons. Look, we love Hyundai here and the Ioniq Electric is a great car, but
that elevated rear part and that thing where the grille should be are standout features and they really don't look all that appealing. If it weren't for these oddities, the other features of the Ioniq Electric would make it a run-of-the-mill compact car.
The Nissan Leaf is one of the oldest cars here, being in its second generation. While the first one was unnecessarily quirky and, let's be honest, bad, this one is a lot more modern with a more aggressive front fascia and low grille.
The upward lines that rise as they reach the rear and these darkened details really make the Leaf look nice compared to the previous version. However, its main points come from the fact that it now looks like a regular modern city hatchback, not like something that was designed following the "we want to make it look strange" design direction.
When it comes to performance, none of the EVs I go through in this video are intended to be performance vehicles. But some of the inherent benefits of electric motors make some of these cars pretty fun to drive.
The Zoe in its entry-level form comes with a single electric motor with 80 kilowatts and 225 newton meters of torque. The top speed is 135 kilometers per hour and it takes 13.2 seconds to reach 100. The Leaf packs more punch with 110 kilowatts and 320 newton meters of torque. It tops out at 143 kilometers per hour, which is not a lot more than the Zoe, but it reaches 100 in just 7.9 seconds, which is a noticeable improvement over the French offering. The i3 has 125 kilowatts and 250 newton meters of torque, just edging the Leaf, reaching 107.3 seconds and topping out at 150 kilometers per hour. The i3S has 270 newton meters and it sprints to 100 in 6.9 seconds. The Ioniq Electric has 100 kilowatts of power and 295 newton meters of torque. It reaches 166 kilometers per hour, but it takes 10.2 seconds to get to 100. The Kona has 150 kilowatts of power and 395 newton meters of torque. It pulls with remarkable ease and reaches 100 in 7.6 seconds and tops out at 167 kilometers per hour. The Model 3 is by far the sportiest of the lot. It comes in 3 different power ratings, ranging from 211 kilowatts to 353 kilowatts. We have the least powerful version here with rear-wheel drive only, and it's noticeably faster than any other car on this list. It takes 5.6 seconds to sprint to 100, and it goes all the way to 225 kilometers per hour.
So what does this tell us? They're all fast enough.
While the Ioniq and the Zoe are the slowest,
they're also good enough for their main purpose, which is trips around town and the burbs.
If we're talking about practical performance, they're all fine. If we're talking about fun performance, the Kona is okay, but the Model 3 clearly stands out, even in its cheapest, least powerful and two-wheel drive form. It's simply on another level.
Ranges differ as well.
The Leaf has 243 kilometres, the i3 260 kilometres, the Zoe 300 kilometres, the Ioniq 306 kilometres, the Kona 449 kilometres, and the Model 3 460 kilometres in this trim, which is Standard Range Plus, and the version with the shortest range. It goes up to 620 kilometres. To be honest, all these numbers are a bit too optimistic in reality. For example, the Ioniq Electric that we reviewed recently gave about 250 kilometres of reliable range. However, the Kona and the Model 3 are again clear winners.
Once again, they are all good enough for what they are intended. The city subcompacts and compacts give more range than anyone would need in the city. The Kona pleasantly surprises, and the Tesla, well, once again stands at the top even in its least potent form. On the inside, they all look nice.
The i3 is very futuristic and absolutely stunning, especially with the wood trim. The Kona Electric has its own interior layout that purposely differs from the petrol Kona, and the Ioniq has an all-new interior for 2020 and is a lot better now. The Leaf and the Zoe look like regular city cars, modern but not too quirky. Meanwhile, the Model 3 and the i3 look very futuristic. The most spacious one is obviously the biggest one, which is the Model 3. However, I was pleasantly surprised with the layout and space of the shortest vehicle in the group, which is the i3. It really is bigger on the inside than its exterior dimensions would suggest.
So, what's the conclusion? Well, let me tell you the prices first.
Our most affordable is the Zoe at just over $50,000. Then it's the Ioniq, which starts at almost $53,000 drive away. The Leaf is about $1,000 more expensive than the Ioniq. The Kona starts from about $60,000, and the two most expensive vehicles, the i3 and the Model 3, both start from around $70,000.
So, the first thing to say is that due to the price, you have to really like the i3 to buy it. The Model 3 is simply a lot better in all respects, and I'm not sure how BMW thought that they could compete with the Model 3 in this price range. But in saying that, it's going to be difficult for any electric car in the $70,000 price range to compete with the Model 3 right now.
One step down in terms of the price, and you'll find the Kona Electric, which greatly surprises with its range, cool features, somewhat different interior, nice push from the motor, and a nice modern design. It's also the only SUV here, although with two-wheel drive only.
Remembering its price and its features, it appears that the Kona has no true competitor here. If its features are enticing to you, then you're already hooked and there's no other option. The next step down and you find all the other cars we reviewed.
They're all around $50,000, and I have to say that my pick of the lot would be the Ioniq. The Zoe is nice, but it will be too small for most people, being a proper subcompact. While the Leaf is a very nice offering, and especially so after this new generation came out, I have to say that the Ioniq seems to beat it by a small margin in pretty much every aspect. The difference is not that big, however, and a good deal on the price could sway me towards the Leaf.
With all this being said, there is one thing to add, and that is these cars don't make sense unless you're actually ready to buy an EV. An electric car won't just be your next automotive purchase by default. But they bring with them a whole new experience, and it's exciting, and we found them heaps of fun. But let's face it, there are some people out there who don't feel comfortable with EVs and may be reluctant to take that first step. For the kind of money expected for these electrics, yes, there are internal combustion alternatives which are cheaper and offer more features. But it's clear that the future will be EV. So I guess it's just a matter of when we're ready to come to the party. Thanks for watching Cartel TV, and thank you so much to those of you who took the time to reach out to us from various stages of lockdown around the world. We absolutely loved it. Please keep it up, and we'll see you at our next review.